Welcome back to the Travel Agency New Year podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Kay. And today's episode is compounding from multiple past episodes about lead magnets. So now we're going to talk about written guides and I believe, quizzes. I write everything down. If you don't know, studies show rather than typing, rather than writing it in a tablet, writing stuff in a notebook commits to your memory much better. Your recall is much better on the whatever it is you've written down. So that's why I'm the weirdo with 1,000 notebooks. Sometimes I feel like Merlin from The Sword and the Stone. If you actually saw my office, it's just like stacks of notebooks everywhere. Anyway, so like I said in the webinar episode from yesterday, the video lead magnet episode, you always want to work backwards from what you're comfortable with offering in terms of service and the products that you want to offer. You always work backwards. You always say, okay, my ICA is going to end up at one of these three, whatever products, and or they end up choosing one of these three services, maximum of three. Three's a magic number, everybody. But work backwards from there. So then you have to ask yourself, why do they want your services? Or why would they want these particular products that you want to offer? And then what questions would they have? And then you create your tips from those questions. Okay. So, like planning a destination wedding, 5 tips to plan your destination wedding. So, what's the end result? They want to hire someone that can help them with all of this. Okay. And they want to make sure they hire someone that they can trust. May or may not be you, but 5 tips to planning a resort wedding in general. They're going to need to know, well, how long does it take to plan a destination wedding? How much does it cost to plan a destination wedding? How many people, do I have to, there's so many different questions. If you are niching, you should niche down. And if you are creating this lead magnet and you are struggling with questions to provide in this guide or any content in general, answerthepublic.com is a website that will give you a free analysis of what people are searching, primarily on Google and Bing. I don't think they've integrated with LLMs like ChatGPT or Claude or anything like that. But you can put in your niche travel and it'll have the most commonly asked questions. And it's free to get one thing a day. You put in your email and it's free. You could pay for multiple searches. But it's a free tool, people. And that could help you also figure out in your guide specifically or your future email funnel, which is another episode, what you're going to include as your tips for your whatever type of travel you want to offer in this lead magnet. It's so hard, by the way, talking about this because you can sell any kind of travel. So I can't be like, this is exactly what you need. And so I'm like, Vegas, I'll get out. I'm sorry. You can always come to our live Q&As if you are a student and be more specific in your ask. So I'm just trying to get your brain going here while you're running your errands. Okay, you also want to make sure that the guide is more about their pain points. You don't want to, you can totally use fear mongering as a sales tactic. It is a psychological thing, it's totally manipulative, creating scarcity and FOMO. You can do that. Me personally, I don't like to do that. I'm just like, take it or leave it. I don't care. But you want to understand what your ICA's pain points are with regards to planning the type of product or service that you offer so that you can speak their language without not necessarily saying, oh, you're just going to totally screw up this family reunion trip. You don't even know how complicated it is. You better hire me. You can just be like, hey, girl, I know it's super frustrating trying to plan this graduation trip for your daughter that's graduating from high school. And you're just like, oh, family resorts are super expensive. Should we do a cruise? And honestly, I would offer a cruise for that sort of thing because it's more cost effective, I feel like, but I don't quote me on that because I don't book cruises. But resorts for teens are expensivo. If that's in your ICA's budget, that's fine. I'm just thinking. But you've already spent 30 hours scamming, like prying over, I can't think of the right word, reading essentially TripAdvisor reviews and subreddit threads and Facebook groups about these different things, and you're just overwhelmed with the incredible number of choices. And you can even put in your content, like, did you know that there's like, I don't know, this is not a real number. I'm making this up. I'm probably off. Did you know that there's like 2,000 resorts in Mexican Caribbean alone? That's a lot of resorts, but whatever that number is, just that one destination, hundreds and hundreds of resorts to narrow down from. And if you are trying to plan this special trip, you should have an expert who understands which ones to even avoid in the first place and then can narrow down based on your needs. So you want to be able to address those pain points. The pain points are they're like sticker shocked. They don't know if it's a good value, if it's a cheap place, you know. They don't know if it's going to actually be a good experience, and it's a big investment. So that's their pain points. Then you can write out your guides in a way that shows empathy for where they are and also lets them know and communicates that you are able to solve these problems and you don't have to necessarily use scarcity tactics or fear mongering tactics. I would say don't do more than 10 tips. Okay. Oh my gosh, my notebook is caught on my mic wire. All right. That's right. I'm old school. I have a notebook, I have a pen, everything's wired. It's 2004 over here. Anyway, what was it? Oh yeah, no more than 10 tips. Like don't inundate them with too much information. I said this in previous episodes. I had a 50-page lead magnet, my very first lead magnet. And while the couples that did see it hired me, they were like, that was a lot of information. And I was like, oh, should probably scale back on this because I was just told create a lead magnet. And sometimes I provide too much information, clearly. You also want to make sure that whatever you write does not contain or speak, does not contain any kind of like industry jargon and is not in a language that they speak. So if your ICA leans younger than you, if you're using slang from your generation, they're going to be like, hard no. Listen to me. If you're younger, if you're like in your 20s, you're going to be like, Rachel, are you my grandma? So, but you want it to be in your brand voice and it truly speaks to them as well. And it's in a language that they understand. If you have more tips, which you will, because you know what you're talking about, you are a professional, use those for the email funnel, which we'll talk about in future episodes. Don't worry, it's coming up. It's actually the next episode. Now for quizzes, very, very similar. You want to work backwards. It's going to be nearly identical to guys, but you can make it a little more fun and engaging because they have different options. I love to put like the most ridiculous, sarcastic answers in there just to get them laughing. Because if you get someone to laugh, they're going to like you. If you ever watch any dating stuff for guys, because for some reason the algorithm sends it to me, if you can make her laugh, you can get her to kiss you. Same thing. Gross, Rachel. But you can add a little more of your personality to the quiz, is what I'm saying. You can also, with certain quiz making sites, you can get the HTML code to embed it directly into your site. And all you do is create a new section. Most of the websites that we're building sites on or whatever, you can create a new section on a page or a blank section and you drag and drop over HTML code. And then you copy the code from the quiz and you paste it in and then you preview it and test it and make sure it's loading. Okay. Then you have it on your site. With any lead magnets, that being said, written or quiz, You want to have a friend, a colleague, or a family member review the written content and the photos for any feedback that could be improved upon. Maybe one of your photos is really grainy and they're like, just go get a Pixabay stock photo or something. So don't use this photo, you know? So you want to have them test it to make sure it's not clunky. You want to also test it yourself. We're going to talk about that in tomorrow's episode, like testing everything from start to finish. Um, but you want to see how they would like the responses and the experience overall and get their feedback. So that is more in depth on the quizzes and the guides for lead magnets. And feel free to share this episode, comment, like, share, subscribe, all the things. I really don't like saying this, but I have to get in the habit of doing it. And I hope you have a great day.